episodes are always the unscripted ones. There are interesting stories all around us, and here's one of them.
Open your eyes, spectacular's right in front of you.
Oh yeah, this is totally unscripted, so we never know where this is going to go.
Dangerous.
This is the unscripted perspective.
Turn the volume
And
up.
here's your host, Phil Parker. Phil Parker. Phil Parker. Phil Parker.
Well, hello. It is another unscripted perspective with me, your host, Phil Parker. And as always, I try not to disappoint because I'm connected that way. I have got an amazing guest for us today. Her name is Kayla, and correct me if I'm wrong. Is it Subica or Subica? Is that right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Wow, I got it right. First time ever on the live. I always forget to ask the pronunciation of the name at the very start. Damn it. So, welcome, Kayla. How are you?
Thank you. I'm great. Thank you. Yeah.
It's such a pleasure to have you on the show. You've got quite a bit of backstory of entertainment and lots of stuff we'll be talking about. But first of all, just let's, for the people who don't know who you are, give us a little bit of an intro of kind of what you do, so we can get into the nitty gritty of this awesome interview.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Kayla. I am a singer, actor, writer, filmmaker, and medium. To tie it in a neat little unexpected bow.
That's quite so singer to medium is quite a big thing. So
You know
but
what?
you're
Can I just say, singer to medium is actually not very rare. There's many singers that I've met and that I'm meeting who read tarot, are energy healers, are mediums, Reiki masters, all of those types of things. So that's quite interesting to me.
it's incredibly interesting to me because I never connect those dots at all. So tell me a little bit about how you got into, first of all, the entertainment side of the business, because you've got an amazing show that's gone to the Edinburgh Festival, Comedy Festival, I should say, right? And I've seen some clips online. I suggest people go and check your Instagram. We'll go through all those details at the end. But tell me kind of a little bit of that story, how you got into it, first of all.
Yeah, so I've been singing since forever, and it was never professionally singing. It was just me in my room or me around the house or me just anywhere. And I always loved singing and I wanted to be a singer when I was very young. And then I didn't have the lessons and they weren't coming for me. So I started to get into theater. It was like the singing sister. It was like the next best thing. And I really enjoyed being on stage. And I remember auditioning with a song when I was in high school and them being surprised that I came forward with the song and like declining, giving me a singing part, which was, fine. But then when I went away to theater school, I was like the singer of the actors. And so, yeah, I think I just realized like that I love performing and that's what I loved the most. And so going to school when I was in high school and like what you're going to do next, I was like, well, like, what do you enjoy doing? Like thinking to myself, and I was like, I enjoy doing this. And people are like, no, like, what do you enjoy doing for like employment? And I'm like, this is what I want to do.
Wow.
And it's like the more that people said it was hard, the more it kind of excited me. Like I just not afraid of a challenge, not afraid of the struggle, like not afraid of those things. And as soon as something kind of becomes steady, then I look for the next challenge. And I think that's where Edinburgh comes in.
I mean, the fact that you have your own show is huge. Happy medium is, just reading the reviews, going into the little bit of backstory that you have. It's incredible. Like you've got such a following all over the globe, but to get it at the Edinburgh Comedy Festival is huge. Like there are some amazing comedians, amazing performers who've gone there and not done so well, and then the amazing great performers that have gone there and done really well and then kicked on and do even better things. I mean, how does that make you feel? That's just huge. I mean, it's like playing Wembley for a soccer team. It's, oh my god, we're there. We made, like it's huge.
It's huge. And it felt like it was like such a rich experience. And it felt like I had like 3 days in every day. There was just so much to do in terms of marketing and so many people to meet. Doing shows 6 days a week, sometimes doing 2 shows because I'm guesting on other people's shows, which was just wonderful. But also, I've never rested more. So I stayed home most evenings just so that I could save my voice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so but it was such a beautiful balance. And coming home from Edinburgh after performing about 29 to 30 times in a month, it was such a crash. I love the momentum. I love the challenge. I love the adventure. And then to come home and now plan a tour, I'm like, boring. Like, okay, I'm gonna go to this place and I'm gonna do the show twice there. Yeah. But it's like, well, like, I want to do the show Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I want to do the show all the time. And so I'm in an interesting place right now where I'm planning the tour and just finding balance again.
Wow.
So I'm actually watching some other shows right now, and that's been really fulfilling to do.
I mean, it's incredible just in itself how successful you've become. But tell us a little bit about like the road to this. Like you didn't just all of a sudden go to Edinburgh and be like, "Hey, I want to do a show," and they just accepted you. There's so many people, and trust me, I've dabbled in stand-up comedy early in my life, and I can tell you that there's so many people that have tried to get a show in Edinburgh, and it's just failed miserably. Like, how did that even come about for you?
So for me, Edinburgh is like the largest theater festival in the world. It's just something that I'm like, okay, I need to be a part of this. This is like it. And this is something that I want to do time and time again. And so I actually did the festival in 2017 and I found it grueling and so difficult. And thanks to that experience, this experience was so much better. And there were a lot of people there who were there for the first time and I remember that feeling and how difficult it was. But I actually signed up to do the Laughing Horse Free Fringe. And so applying was very easy. Getting accepted it was fine. I know some people find it difficult to get accepted by venues. Uh, I'm not sure what to say in that case. We actually just did a panel at Sweet Action Theater in Toronto
Wow.
this past Tuesday with other performers who went to the Fringe. And they were saying that, like, you just have to stay open because sometimes you don't get accepted in the first rounds. And then, they'll come to you and like 2 people got accepted a month before the Fringe because people like fall out, right? So
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, we'll take it. Like, we'll take the spot, we'll take the afternoon or the late night or whatever, and we'll run with it. I had a choice of performing in the afternoon or at 11 p.m. And I chose the afternoon because of balance. I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like, I'd rather perform every day at 12:15 than stay up late and do the show and be sleeping by like 3 in the morning. It's just not the schedule that I wanted. And it's really interesting that you can perform every day at 12:15. I come home and I'm like, I just want to perform at 12:15. Like, where's the audience? Like, I would love to perform at 12:15 every day.
I mean, it's the dream to be able to have that balance. It's like having a 9 to 5 job. It's like this balance that you just don't get for every career. But that's insane. Like just even hearing you describe just the journey to that is just. Yeah, I mean, I've heard it said before. It's not about necessarily the talent. It's about like being in the right places and having the right mindset of just accepting it and being just open, like you said, like open to do whatever it takes, kind of thing. Which is great. Your show is amazing. Like I've only seen like clips, but it's just from reviews and everything, it looks insane. Like how did you come up with this idea?
It's so fun. So Happy Medium is an interactive storytelling musical about a psychic in 1970s New York who was meant to be a singer and then became a medium. And so what she does is she reads tarot for her callers on the phone line, but she sings the messages to them. So it's very fun because I read tarot live for the audience and I sing the messages. And this idea actually came to me while I was in a writing class during COVID. Well, hold on. I always wanted to do a show that incorporated tarot in some sense because I've been reading tarot for over 15 years. And so during COVID, early COVID, I wrote a show that incorporated these tarot cards. And then once I was done the show, I completely scrapped it. Ooh, I got a thumbs up. Is that from you? Is that from viewer? Hi.
That's from somebody on our awesome platform that we're streaming. We're streaming to YouTube, Facebook. So yeah, I'm sure.
That's so cool.
I appreciate the love, everyone. So
Yeah, absolutely.
leave a comment
Sorry
if
to
you want
interrupt.
as well,
I'm
by
like,
the way,
that's
if you have any questions.
first time using this, so that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
So wrote the whole show, worked with the wonderful dramaturge. The show's done. We're like, okay, maybe we'll do this over Zoom. And then I was like, you know what? I don't think so. Toss the show out. And I had spent time and money building this, but I feel like it was the last of what I had to say around family. So I had a solo show that I've taken around about finding my estranged Portuguese grandmother. And I took that one to Edinburgh as well in 2017. I took it to New York. I took it to Halifax. And I was like, you know what? I'm done with this. And then there were remnants of just like talking about family. And so I incorporated family and tarot cards and all of these things. And then I wrote it out and I scrapped it. So then I'm in a writing class during COVID. And now this is like later COVID. It's all a blur. I don't remember where exactly. I was less depressed at this point. You know what I mean? It wasn't early. It was close to the end. So there's that. And we had this writing exercise. God knows about what. And I'm writing and I'm like, oh, like splish splash. I wrote that song, yada, yada. And this woman is hurt. She's hurt that she didn't get the credit that she deserved because she wrote all of these songs for this man. And so I look up like who wrote Splish Splash and it's Bobby Darin.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, okay, interesting. And so this character just came to life. This character that doesn't leave the house. This character that is just stuck in life. And this character that's waiting for their turn, but not proactively chasing that down, just giving the power to somebody else, to Bobby Darin, to lift her out of this situation. And so I was thinking, like, what could this character do as a job? Because they don't leave the house. And it was, well, she's a medium, of course. She's a phone line medium. And so that kind of just, and I wrote the show. I wrote it as a two-hander, and I didn't finish the show. So I didn't have an ending for it, but it was like in the ether for a couple of years. And, you know, I was going to do it at like a crystal shop in Toronto, and I just couldn't commit. And I was going to do it here, and I just couldn't commit, and all these things. And for me, I need to have a big goal to get something done. So I was like, okay, I'm going to sign up for the Edinburgh Festival. I'm going to get that. And because of that, I will then do Toronto. I will do the rest of Ontario. I will do Canada. I will take it around. But I need to do Edinburgh first to have something like that to motivate me to complete the show. And that's what I did.
Wow. That's awesome though. I think that's just so cool. I mean, just talking about it is just incredible to me. Like we've talked about just your journey and everything, but like it's just insane how, I mean, people are going to be like, "Oh, she had it easy and stuff," like, but it's just a lot of it's luck. Like you're really lucky. I mean, getting onto Edinburgh Festival and meeting the right people is insane. It's
Well,
so cool.
let me tell you about the festival. There's over 4,000 shows. So there's a lot of talent there. You
Yes.
know, and I do feel that everyone should give it a shot, give it a go. It doesn't feel like there was ever going to be a way that I wouldn't get in, right? It didn't feel like that. It just felt like, okay, it's a matter of when. Like, okay, like it's like the people that I knew, like, are you ready to go? If they say yes and you're going in a month, are you ready for that? Are you ready? For me, if that was the case, I still wouldn't have had the show done till the month before I go. That's just how I work.
But
You
that's
know?
that's a really refreshing mindset though. I mean, assuming success it's just invoking it. It's like if you assume you're going to be successful, you're just being positive and you're almost willing that success to happen. It's a really refreshing. I mean, I've heard of this before. Like I've heard other actors and performers and musicians just see that, and it's crazy. It's just insane. So tell me a little bit about this though, because this whole like you're just insanely like just popular. You've got like so much going for you. You're really likable to like even on your social media, everything's going for you right now. But what is your inspiration? Because like these ideas that you're coming up with, I mean, your whole career is basically entertainment. Like, where do you find all your inspiration from?
I find them from myself. I find them from like the parts of me that I feel like I've had to hide. I
Mm.
feel like, and I feel like this is true for a lot of other performers, where we just take the parts of us that we have felt shame around, that we have felt difficulty around, and we go, okay, how can I put this out for all to see? Because it's like the most challenging thing that we could do and the most liberating thing that we could do. And if we're feeling shame around this, then someone else is as well. If we're feeling disempowered about it, someone else is as well. If we wish something were different, someone else does too. So let me just put this forward. And so I hear a lot of people talk about writer's block. I was at an event last night. This woman beside me, it was a mediumship event. I was not the medium. It was a different medium. I'm either at a theater show or at a medium event or whatever. Like the night before it was a panel. Yesterday it was a mediumship thing. And then tonight I was at an actual show, a theater show. And like, that's just it. But the woman beside me, the medium was like, you need to write that book. And the woman was like, oh, I know. She's like, this is the message you've been getting for years. Why aren't you writing the book? And so I talked to the woman after, and she's just like, it's just really personal. And I was like, yeah, that's the point. And it's not that it's only going to be personal to you, it's going to resonate with so many people. And
Yeah.
and she's like, I have writer's block. I'm like, you don't have writer's block. You're just afraid that you're going to be shamed for whatever you're sharing.
Right.
She's well,
It's a
it's
fear
about,
of not being accepted, or it's like I hate to say it, it's the fear of embarrassment. I've stood in front of hundreds of people myself. I can tell you right now, the stage fright applies to almost every form of entertainment. Before I started this podcast, before I wrote my first song, before I started writing like just books and stuff, it's insane the fear that you have, because you're just afraid of like someone going, "Oh, that's crap," and you're
yeah,
just like, "Well, I don't care what you think." So
yeah.
that's kind of
Except I
that's the
really,
attitude you gotta
really
have.
do.
I mean, the thing is that these people who are overly confident and everything, they know who their audience is. Like for me, I'm streaming this to my social media. I'm streaming it to my followers who have already accepted my channel, and so they can watch this or they can not watch this. It's like I create so much content that it's like pick and choose who you find interesting and get what you want out of it. If I
Right,
get 100 views after the live, then 100 more people after the live decided, "Hey, let's have a look and see who Phil was talking to this week." So it's a little bit of everything. Like you have to be willing to put yourself out there, and it's a big step for people. Like um one of my friends wants to start a podcast, and she's scared of taking that big step because she doesn't know what she has to say, or if what she has to say is relevant. So it's like
mm,
it's just like what you're going through or what you're seeing around you. It's like it's personal, and that's the point. Like it's so personal that she's afraid to share it, because if someone just pisses on her party, like all of a sudden she her golden chalice that she was protecting because it was so personal, um it's who's it for? Like she's hurting now because it's just being like rained on, which it's hard to do. It really is.
there's a couple things here though. When we're in that place, we're the ones who are actually pissing in the chalice
Oh, totally.
because of all the pain that we're experiencing by not moving forward is self-inflicted pain because we're judging ourselves before anyone else
Oh,
can.
100%. Yeah.
So, like, we need to allow other people to do the job of judging us so we can just do the thing.
Yeah.
Because somebody's got to judge. So, I don't need to judge my own shit.
Yeah.
It's not my job. And something else is like I used to be so afraid that people wouldn't like my work. And I did a work in progress show in Toronto before going to Edinburgh. And I feel like it was the first time that I got off stage and I didn't ask anybody, did you
Right.
like it?
Yeah.
Because I was so pleased
With how
with
you
what I
how
was
you
doing
felt. Yeah. Yeah.
that I just didn't fucking care.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm like, I just did this. I had the time of my life. It was so good. And I'm hyper about it. And it's like, yeah, I mean, it's a show. It's an
Right.
hour. You like it, great. You don't like it, fine. Like,
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. 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 I mean, it reminds me of the short stint I did a few years of stand up or whatever. I was sick one night, and I really didn't want to do this gig because I was just so like it was that awful cold, and I was just not wanting to do it, but I didn't want to back out because I've been fighting to get this gig for a while. And I I honestly didn't care. Like it was just like, let's just go up, do it, get off. And it's the best gig I've ever done. Even to this date, like I'm just like, like it was because I was in that moment of I could give two shits what you think. I'm just gonna do this. And even to this day, like my friends and people who were at that gig, they're just like, man, that was just like it was your moment right there. And I was like, God damn it, how do I find that moment again? You know what I mean? But it's crazy. It's when you don't care, when you're just like you're happy in your own performance, it's like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, yeah,
You're doing it for you and you're letting other people watch.
exactly.
And I think that that is why I enjoy challenge on stage.
Mm,
So I read for 4 people during the show, and the audience volunteers themselves. And I don't know what the questions are gonna be, and I don't know who's gonna get read, and it's musical improv.
yeah,
And so I'm improvising this reading, and this reading needs to resonate and needs to be a little funny and sincere. And I do it for the challenge.
yeah,
Like,
it's
and
awesome.
it's like, it's me versus me. I'm like, where can I find the humor in this? Somebody asking about their health. Okay. Let me
Yeah,
find the like, right? It's like, it's not inherently funny. So I feel like letting go of needing the audience to like you actually frees you and the audience because they can
100%. Yeah,
feel it. They can feel and it's uncomfortable.
yeah.
And you're so much more than whoever's watching you and what their opinion is of what you're doing.
That's why great comedians and there's so many comedians out there that haven't even made it to mainstream and everything. So many are so great at the heckling part. Like they actually want you to heckle. They want the challenge of you throwing an egg on stage where they just don't know where it's gonna go, what's gonna happen. And it's crazy, like the audience participation stuff that is insane. It's really cool. Like you've seen the TV shows of improv. It's such an art form, and people love it because it's like anything goes, like anything can happen. It's so cool.
It's so cool. And the audience is such a gift. And uh like one of the clips that I have on my Instagram is of someone's phone going off in the audience.
Oh, I love that. That was my favorite one. That was, and you just was, it was like the best bit. It's like, really?
Like, yeah. And the audience laughed so hard at my response to their phone going off in the audience. And it was like I'm just saying, well, we're all feeling and thinking. But I'm
Right,
up there and I'm by myself and I have to like wrangle these fucking cats. The audio's gone off. Turn your fucking phones off, everybody, to not interrupt the show. The show
right.
is just beginning. I'm like 2 minutes in, and boom, this happens. Greatest gift,
Oh yeah.
truly, that could happen. Later on in the show, fucking the same person and my dad start talking like they're part of the show. They try to ad lib. So I have to gently tell them to shut the fuck up in a way that I've never had to do before because no one's done that before during this show.
Right, right.
Audience is cheering. They're loving it. And it's like, ideally, do I want to be doing this? No. But there's a part of me that's like, fuck yeah, you fucking handled that. Now go on.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's
yeah. No,
part of
go
me is
after it.
like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
like that was so fun. And it's a little bit of danger where it's like, is this gonna sink this? Am I gonna come out of the moment? What's
Right.
gonna happen? But that little bit of like danger added is it's kind of fun.
Yeah, no, I'm a huge comedy fan, obviously, because of my background and everything, but stand up is one of my favorite things to go and watch as an art form. And honestly, it's so fun watching people react to just the ad lib. Like it's like you just don't know where it's gonna go. You don't have any clue, and it's because performers thrive on it. Like I've seen so many interviews and everything, and it's just like yeah, the guy just yelled, and I was like, "Screw it, I don't care anymore. You've just totally thrown me off." It's amazing. It's amazing. So tell me a little bit about the medium stuff because this is an intriguing piece because I've had don't want to say I've had mediums on before, but I've had people who were dabbling in that kind of stuff, and it's always interesting to talk to people who are into that and their reasoning to get into it. So tell me how long you've been doing it, first of all.
Yeah, so I've been reading tarot for over 15 years, and mediumship is newer for me. It's been about 3 years of me studying mediumship. Now, I've always said that I want to talk to ghosts. I want to talk to the dead. I want to talk to the dead. And I thought me saying it, I would get less scared.
Right.
I was trying to normalize it for myself, but I did really have the desire. And so again, during COVID, I'm doing this workout in front of the TV, a YouTube workout. And this woman that I know, her dad, like his face pops up here on like my left side where I can see his face. And he's got this big fucking mustache and smile. I'm working out and I see that. And I was like, no, I'm not doing this. Like,
Uh-huh.
absolutely not. And so maybe a couple minutes later, same thing. His face like pops up here in my vision. And I'm like, don't make me look like an idiot. Like, okay, I will reach out to your daughter, but do not make me look like a fucking idiot. So this was my first go at mediumship.
Wow.
Because I had been reading these cards and I would say things and people would be like, oh, that's my dad's name, or oh, this and that, or how'd you get that from that card? And I was like,
Yeah.
well, I mean, I just go out on a limb. And when it comes to mediumship and reading for people in general, you have to go out on the furthest limb and you have to share what you pick up. And then more and more, like it branches off.
Right.
You have to go there. And for me, I feel like it's the same with performing. If it comes to improv, it comes to like, there's someone in the audience saying something comes up in your head, you go with it. You just got to go out on that limb and you don't know if it's going to hold you. You don't know what's going to happen, but you need to trust your intuition, your gut, that sense
Right.
that only you can like connect with. You need to trust it. And so I reached out to this woman and I said, hey, I was working out and like I feel like your dad was here and
I can't
I've
imagine
never
what that phone call's like. You know what I mean? If someone calls me and someone goes, "Hey, yeah, I was just working out," and then your uncle was, and I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about? What do you mean, my uncle?" Yeah, his face just popped up, and I was like, "You don't even know my uncle. What are you talking about?"
yeah.
That's insane. Like, and first of all, it's so hard as well. Just because, not to digress and take you away from what you're trying to say, but it's so hard to put that point across when number one, you're on the verge of acceptance. Like you've just said, screw it, I'm going to go for this.
Yeah.
And this person now has to not only be convinced by you, but also be willing to accept the fact that ghosts are real and that you are talking to their dead relative. Like it's such an insane bridge of stuff. And I mean, like, this isn't like Ghostbusters shit. This is like, I am talking to your dead relative. They're having a conversation with me and they're saying, hey, like, I need you to reach out to my loved one or whatever. It's just so nuts. And me, like, I do not water on anyone's profession, but that is the thing because I've had paranormal investigators. I've befriended many, and two in particular who I love to death, and they just they talk about the scary stuff as well as this not so scary stuff. Just and I'm like, man, I just after having conversations like that. In fact, you know what? I'm going down this road with you right now. I know for a fact that I'm gonna be going up the stairs with all the lights on because I'm like, "Screw this, darkness sucks." You know what I mean? It's just because people have this subconscious fear of the unknown, and
Totally.
it's like I'd love to think that, we all do it, like religious or otherwise. We always love to think that our relatives are out there looking out for us. You know what I mean? But
Mm.
to actually feel that, to actually see that, and to have you calling her up going, yo, I was working out, and your dad or your uncle or your whatever, you're just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
How
I
did that
mean,
conversation go? Like what
well, yeah,
sorry,
like,
I'm just like
when
I've totally
when
gone
you
off on
put
a
it this way, I
tangent.
want you to know that like there's been a lot of like self-judgment around all of these things. And I think it's the same with like being a performer. I think the thing that we need to celebrate most is self-acceptance. And that's
Right.
why I say like put your thing you're most ashamed of out there, or you're most afraid that you're going to lose love around out there.
Mm,
Because that is you accepting you. And so even with this experience, I'm like, well, fuck me. Like, I don't really want to do this, but a part of me wants to do this. And
yeah.
I judge that fucking part. I'm like, why can't you just do something normal? Why can't you just work at a fucking
Why
9 to
can't you
5, whatever? Like,
collect
be a
postage
secretary. Why
stamps or something
do that?
easier than that?
Pardon?
Why can't you collect something easy like postage stamps or something? You know what I mean? It's
Literally,
so easy.
just
You don't have
anything normal. So there is judgment around it.
for sure.
But I do reach out and I say, look, I don't know if I'll be able to make contact with them. I don't know what will come from this. You know, obviously it's at no cost to you. If you feel to sit down and we can have a phone call, I've got my tarot cards at the very least, and I've been reading for over 15 years. So I know I'll be able to get, questions answered about other things in your life. I don't know if data will come through, but this is what I've asked him if he's going to lead me here to lead me.
Yeah.
And so when we get on the call, I said the same thing. I said, like, I'm just asking him to lead me, like, have me say what I need to say. And then I just close my fucking eyes and I just start talking and I just hope that it means something.
Right.
And I think that regardless, it just means a lot because I don't know. I saw him and we're there and it's like maybe she just needed somebody at that time. There's just something.
Right.
And I believe in those synchronicities. And so I would say she's like, what you're saying sounds a lot like him. And so that was like a relief. But that was like my first go at mediumship.
That's crazy to me. I can't even get past that. That's just so funny.
Yeah. But Philip, the other crazy thing, I guess, about all of this is that I truly believe that we all have the ability to do this. And I believe that it's a skill. And I believe that with any skill, you need to have interest in something to then help you to build the skill.
Right.
If you're not interested in something, it's going to be difficult to do the work to build the skill to get to where you want to be. And so if you're listening and this is something that you're interested in, like you can absolutely access all of this. And people access this at different stages in their life. And again, it's about allowing. Do you
Yeah.
allow yourself to access this?
Are you open to it? It's very much your mind has to be ready. It's not just telling yourself that you're ready. You know what I mean? It's like
Right.
I've talked about this before, and it's a scary thing. I mean, and paranormal investigators, I actually have a couple of friends um who've dabbled in the medium side of it and then gone and done this investigation stuff. And so it's insane to me because not only are you walking into a house that isn't yours, you have no connection, you've got nothing to do there other than you're an invader, and or they're going to welcome you. And I've heard stories on both sides. Like, it's been scary. I've been told about like dark souls that follow you out of the property and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just like, oh my God, like I just don't. there's enough assholes in the world. I don't need to worry about the ones that are dead as well. You know? I can do without that noise, you know? Let's
Yeah,
just worry about the living. I don't need to make friends with the dead as well. Like, I'm good. Totally
that's
good.
fair. That's
So
so
that's
fair.
just me. Like, but hey, there are people who like we see these reels and stuff. Like literally just saw one before we went live. Um of a little boy, and he's just every year for his mom's birthday, he goes to her grave, and he's like 6 or 7, and he's just like, "Happy birthday, mom," and he kisses the picture on the tombstone. And that's just like, oh my god, like it just hit you, you know? And it's just like one of those reels, and you're just like, gosh, that's the person right there that deserves to be able to be connected to his mom. Like that's the one where I'm like, you know what? Screw everything. Like you deserve when you get older, go find yourself a medium. I'm sure there's some good stuff that's going to come out of that connection. But then,
Absolutely.
you just there's the naysayers, you know what I mean? It's like it's
Well, it's fair. It's fair. Because people have been manipulated by mediums, but also people have been manipulated by a lot of different people in a lot of different
yeah,
professions.
for sure.
And so I do feel that the naysayers also have something to do with keeping religions that are in power. And
Yeah, a little bit. I think
well, I
I have a
think
better
there's
I
a
think
history.
there's a better way of explaining it. You everybody every profession has a shitty person at that profession. Everyone.
Mhm.
You can go and get a coffee at Starbucks and have an awful experience. You can go to McDonald's, bad example. You can go to a doctor and have a really bad doctor. We've
Definitely.
experienced in the last 5, 6 years police officers that don't deserve to wear a badge, right?
Mhm.
Everybody is in a profession they don't necessarily deserve to be in.
Mhm.
Mediums are not an exception to that rule. And so
Mhm.
if you've been taken advantage of by a medium, yeah, it's scary. It's actually a profession that is more risky because there's no real hard evidence that this person can do what they say because you can't like call all their customers unless they're really open about who they've done business with. So it's very difficult to find those fake people, right? But
Yeah.
I can tell you for a fact there is good mediums out there because I've met them. I've had experiences with them. I've had good conversations with them. I've done tarot readings before. I can tell you that all this stuff is real, but it's about being willing to accept the good stuff and just if you find a bad one, then you just found a bad one. Move on and find a good one. It's like getting a bad haircut. Go and get a good one. You know what I mean? It's the same thing.
So when I was doing tarot exclusively, my business was called Uplifting Tarot. And I always said that there's medicine in each card, and you can lean into the positive of the reading. And for me, a reading is about shifting your perspective so that you can live out the life that you want.
Mhm.
And so I feel like it needs to be uplifting. Don't just tell someone that they're going to lose their job if, they've got this hunch they're going to lose their job, this and that, and just
You see
leave
the
it
death
at
card
that.
and you're like, "Shit, I'm gonna die." It's like,
Yeah.
that's
And
not what
it's
that
like,
means.
that'll be $200. Thank you. Goodbye. It's
Yeah.
like, it's like, so what is the medicine here? Like, what is the takeaway that's going to benefit somebody? And for me, like, people tell me stories about mediums or readers telling them that they've got bad energy. And I was like, when you hear you have bad energy, like you need to cut and run. Because what they try and do is they try to get people to pay them to take away this bad energy. And people can give them, like, there's no end in sight
Yeah.
of the money that
It's
they'll give. They start
I have
out
bad energy, by the way. I'm pretty sure I have bad energy because
bad
because
energy.
I'm
It's
always
like a
tired
lot.
when I get up in the morning, and I never have energy throughout the day, and I have to live off Red Bull. So I'm pretty sure that's bad energy. I don't know what that looks like, but that's pretty much what I feel like it looks like.
The medium that I was with yesterday would say that you need to take care of your diet and your sleep and all the
Oh,
regular
yeah, for
stuff,
sure.
but not that you actually have, a negative entity like attached to you, like these
Right,
other mediums
right.
are trying to sell you on. So
It's about going with grace. It's what I say at the end of every show. Go with grace, because it really is. Positivity is the only way forward. We have so much negative things going on in the world that positivity is the only way forward. You know, um, you can have a good aura, you can have a deflated aura. We've done, like, we could literally do a 2-hour podcast on just being a medium and reading people's aura. But I can tell you that, like, it's nothing is irrecoverable. Like,
exactly.
it's not like, you have a bad aura. Oh, you're probably depressed. You're probably having a bad time of it. I can tell you myself, I've gone through depression. I've just had a 40th birthday and had the best birthday I've ever had, and realized that life is amazing, and I have a great wife. I have great friends. But there's a journey that you have to take. And if you're religious, God is putting you on this journey to find that. If you're not religious, you're probably thinking, what the F did I do wrong to deserve this? Right. But you got to be positive. There's a lesson to be learned in almost everything. And learning those lessons literally gets you to where you need to be.
Exactly.
I mean, it's
Nothing to add.
insane.
I agree.
It's
Yeah.
it's insane, because I love connecting with people. I love having these conversations, because so many people need to hear this message. Like, you have an amazing ability to go up on stage and make people smile and bring joy to people. Not enough of that is going on right now. And so, whether it's on stage, or putting cards on a table and reading tarot cards, or whether it's connecting someone with their loved one, it's positive. Like, that's what people need. It's all positivity. Like, now we're
Yeah.
worried about who's going to be in power in the American president in the next 6 months, 9 months, or whatever. I could care less. I'm more worried about the people around me, that's local to me, that need to hear that they're loved and they're appreciated. And that's what we need to focus on.
Mhm.
I'm very grateful to be able to go and see great music and great artists. And hopefully you're going to come to Portland, and I'll come and see your show. And, like, it's that stuff. Just gravitate to the positivity. Don't be listening to negativity. That's really the message, isn't it? Really.
It is the message. I just think we're so sensitive. And so we really are picking up what we are listening to and what's around us. And so, I was in Edinburgh all of August. It's still September. Just
I
let me
love
lean
Edinburgh.
on that
Edinburgh
beautiful
is
experience.
so amazing. If you haven't been to Edinburgh, go to Edinburgh. The history there is just enough for you to drool. If you're big into, like, everyone says, oh, America doesn't have any history. That's wrong. You need to learn about your country's history a little bit more. But yes, go and see Edinburgh, because there's castles. If you like castles, like, you couldn't swing a cat without hitting a castle over there. But Edinburgh Castle's amazing. Like, it's just phenomenal.
Just
Um,
gorgeous place. And when I was there, I wasn't hearing anything about the election because I wasn't on social media scrolling. I was
I know.
doing my show
How good
and
does that
then
feel, though?
amazing. I was hearing nothing about it. I was in this completely different vibe. I was just in a place where people couldn't give a fuck about American politics. And
Right.
I was like, oh, it's so refreshing to be here. And then I went to Switzerland afterwards and nobody was talking about shit there. And I was like, and they just saw it as like a farce. And it's like a soap opera, like a global soap opera that doesn't stop. And it just felt really nice to focus on the people immediately in front of me and making those genuine connections and trying to make those people laugh and going for lunch and dinner with strangers and making friends and doing all of these things that feel really, really good instead of worrying about what's to come. Not to say that, you know, I don't want to feel like powerless or have things happen that I don't put my input into, but I cannot carry these things with me every
Right.
fucking day because
Right.
they are a power drain. And
They really are.
also just about how sensitive we are as humans. Also, while I was there, if I had a great show and then someone was like, hey, do you want to go for lunch? We go for lunch and they're like, like things aren't working out for me, blah, blah, blah. My show's not going well, all these things. I just feel that high from my show start to go, and then I start to
Right.
sync with them. And then I start to look for things to like complain about so that we can be on the same page. And then I realize I'm not going to bring them up. So then I got to get down. And that can take me a couple days to shake out of. And
Right.
so just being sensitive, it's important that we like are very careful with who we let in and what we let in. And that's the media that we consume, the comedians, the performers, the news, the readers, whomever, the podcasters, all of these people are impacting us. And so how do we want to be impacted? Do we want to feel connected to hope? Do we want to feel like we can change things, like we have got power? Or do we want to feel, low and stuck? Do we want to just commiserate? And, the part of me that loves to feel low, I wrote about them in Happy Medium, and it's great. And we have a good laugh and I put it right out there because it doesn't mean that that part of me isn't here. It's
Right.
just not the part that I want to feed right now.
It's I mean, it's so true, but it's wow. Yeah, I agree with pretty much everything, and you're right. I mean, I just want to be around people that are positive, but I think the biggest thing as well is when you're so like high, when you're like happy about like pretty much everything going on in your life, people want to tell you their woes because you're like, how did you do it? Like, I just want to know. I want, oh, tell me the secret. Tell me how to climb this ladder. I just don't know how to do it. So a lot of the time, inadvertently, they're not trying to bring you down. They're trying to get the secret sauce from you.
Fair. But can I share how I do it? I have a lot of support.
Right.
Like I have a lot of emotional support. I have got a therapist and I've got a coach. And so I can share my lows and get feedback right away. I can share my fears. I can share all of these things, knowing that my goal is to recognize where I'm at and what's stopping momentum and do what I can to accept it and then, okay, move on, or heal what I can and move on. And so I always encourage people to get support, emotional support. Again, just I feel like the times in my life when I wasn't moving forward, I was stuck emotionally. And that's what was stopping me. So to be able to work through difficult emotions with someone else just means so much.
100%. So, we've been chatting for almost an hour now, Kayla, believe it or not, and what an amazing conversation it's been. But I really want to bring the focus back onto you and what you're creating. So tell me a little bit about what's coming up for you. Obviously, you're trying to do a tour and everything, but how do I get more of Kayla in my life? How do I do that?
Yeah. So I'm over at Instagram at Kayla Subica. I'm also on Facebook and TikTok, same handle. I will be doing a Canadian tour this fall and come the spring. I am going to be going back to Edinburgh in August. And I'll probably come to New York before I go to Edinburgh. And so when it comes to the rest of the US, I'm not sure yet what those dates will look like.
Don't forget about the rest of the US. Look, I know it's easy to, but don't.
It's just, I like adventure, and I feel like for me, like Europe is a bigger adventure because the US is more similar to Canada versus Europe. I feel like everywhere I go, things are so different. So I like a challenge. I like adventure. It doesn't mean that I won't be coming to the US. It just means that I've got my sights set on Europe right now.
I mean, I love Europe too. I'm not gonna lie. I was born in Ireland, or born in England, raised in Ireland. I love Europe, but I'm in America, so I want you to come over here. Like, I want that's not fair. Don't make me fly to Europe just to come and see a show. That's not fair.
Yeah, I think no, but you can come to Toronto, you can come to Ottawa, you can
All right,
come
okay, that's
to
fair.
Montreal.
All right, okay.
But yeah, I think actually to make it things feel more exciting for me, I think what I would do is I would take the cities that I'm coming to and then just kind of like ask, like, hey, what do I got to see here? Like make things more of an adventure.
For
I
sure.
need things to feel like an adventure to give me the motivation to do them.
That's fair. That's fair. Kayla, you're an absolute delight. I really appreciate you coming on the show. You're such a joy to have a conversation with, but also I'm just excited to keep following you on your socials, keep looking at like what you're creating. The show is just what I've seen. It's just little snippets is amazing. So happy medium. If it's coming to a town near you, do not miss it. It looks amazing. And if nothing else, you get to meet Kayla, who's just phenomenal. You've already seen that in the last hour. So definitely do that. Thank you everyone for tuning in. This has been another amazing episode of The Unscripted Perspective. I'll be back again soon with another awesome guest. But until then, stay safe. And of course, as always, go with grace. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much for listening, and be sure to leave us a rating or review on your favorite listening platform.
Be sure to keep in touch with us on Facebook and Instagram at
The Unscripted Perspective,
or you can visit us at
www.theunscriptedperspective.com.